Welcome to the Business Shop Podcast, where our guests speak on meeting the challenges of entrepreneurship, as well as offer tips and advice on business, marketing, technology, and more. Whether you are a newbie or a seasoned professional, this episode is for you. I am your host, Audrey Wiggins. Let's chop it up. Hello, Chop Squad. This is going to probably be a reprimand for some of us. I know it is for me, our guest today. She's going to be talking about clutter. She's got a clutter business, real successful. And so in 1994, this is Janet Taylor we're talking about here today, guys. She took her natural ability, I don't have that one, and started Totally Organized LLC. She has been a government contractor, and her celebrity clients include Les Brown, Deanna Williams. And for 3 consecutive years, Totally Organized was recognized as one of the top minority firms in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Business Journal. Most recently, Janet has been a corporate trainer conducting webinars for Fortune 500 firms. And in 2021, she conducted over 100 webinars with some surpassing 500 attendees each. That's awesome, Janet.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we're going to hear a little bit more about Janet on the other side of this message. July 27th is National Love is Kind Day. Show some love through your business. Nurture it, grow it, and watch it flourish. Register now for Elevating the You in Entrepreneur Summit. Learn more at bit.ly/elevate the letter U July 2024. bit.ly/elevate the letter U July 2024. We're back with Janet, and we're going to tell a little bit more about her. So we're going to back up a little bit to April of 2018 when she appeared on the Rachael Ray Show, where she was crowned the Clutter Free Queen. Now, Janet has also appeared on HGTV's Mission Organization. She has been a featured speaker for IKEA and the Philadelphia Home Show. Janet is the host and producer of a weekly podcast, Got Clutter, Get Organized. I love that title, which is streamed via iTunes. In 2021, the podcast was ranked number 1 in the top 100 indie home and garden chart and ranked number 1 in the top 100 home and garden chart. She also serves on the advisory board for the business division of Pierce College in Philadelphia. Again, Janet, welcome to the Business Shop.
I am so excited to be here with you today, Audrey.
I'm excited to have you for sure. This is my topic. And, maybe when this is over, you can come over to Ohio and, get me together, right? I don't want to have anything to do with it. Just don't, leave the technology, you can get rid of the rest.
Okay. All right. Done.
All right. And before we get started, there's always some fun facts and things we want to share. So what do you want to share with us today?
I think I want to share the fun fact, because I know a lot of your listeners are business professionals, is that the Rachael Ray opportunity happened within a week.
Oh, really?
They contacted me on a Monday. We went back and forth throughout that week. That Friday, they said, we want you in New York the following Wednesday.
Oh my God. Clear my schedule.
That's right. And I was a little frantic because, as a woman, you're thinking of your hair, what you're going to wear.
I get my nails done.
Yeah, and all of that stuff. So it was really nice because I had I call it my community, where I reached out to someone. I said, look, I know you got a closet full of clothes, and I know you always so help. And they helped me. And then, of course, I got my hair done. And it just really, and then also I had somebody who was just really kind of like, Janet, you can do it. You knew you can do it. But yeah, it was like a quick turnaround. And I share that story because as professionals, we should always be ready for something, the big thing.
Yeah.
And that was like a quick turnaround. Like, Janet, we want you at least about 1:00 on Wednesday. Okay.
Oh my goodness. That is crazy. So what happened on the episode?
So basically it was 2 organizers. I was one of them. And we basically provided some tips. And Peter Walsh, who was like the guru of organizers, and he's also been on the Oprah Winfrey Show, he was the judge. And
Oh.
therefore, he looked at, the other organizer's tip. He looked at mine. He made a decision. And I tell you, Audrey, I was shocked. Well, first of all, I was just so happy because he was like the top organizers of organizers. And when
Mhm.
he placed his hands on my shoulders, I was like, what? Me? What? Me? Then he and then they have a little crown and have a trophy.
Oh,
And it was like, wow. It was
that is
just,
awesome.
it was unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. So, did you apply for this, or they just kind of been scouring and just kind of watching like people who are in the industry? Because people in your industry, they probably know they know who's out there doing stuff.
Mhm.
So you just got on their radar.
And it was basically social media.
Okay.
It was, like I listened to one of your previous episodes, but it was basically social media. They found me on Instagram. That's how they found both of us, on Instagram.
Wow.
Hmm.
Okay, folks, you got to let's get our social media together.
And I think it's more about being consistent
Uh-huh.
because the
Absolutely.
person, I was, so to speak, competing against, she had way more
Hmm.
followers than I did, but also I think it was the consistency and also location because the
Okay.
show is being produced in New York at that time. So of
Hmm.
course I'm in Philly and the other organizer was right outside of New York too. So I
Okay.
know a lot of that had to do with it. But it was
Yeah,
it
to
was
get
a great
especially for that short turnaround.
but it
Yeah.
was a great experience.
That's amazing. Yeah, but you guys didn't get picked just because of proximity. Yeah, you were bringing the A game.
And it was fun. And I knew in my mind, Audrey, I had to win because the Eagles had just won. That's the year we won the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And then Villanova won the championship. So I said,
Like, hey,
I got,
Janet was that.
I was like, I got to come back with something. So,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
it was really nice. And then when it aired, people were just blowing up my cell phone. And then one person who was in a different time zone saw it first, and she was like, "Wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't have shared this with the group that you
Hmm.
actually
Hmm.
won because maybe they want to see it." But it was a wonderful time.
Dang. Yeah, yeah. That's incredible. Well, yeah, that's exciting. It's something to hear like that. Wow. And just doing something that you love.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. I
And of
mean,
course you're great at it.
well, thank you. Yeah, but it is. It's really like doing something that I love, but it's like something that I never really thought that
Hmm.
I would even see myself here because, my degree is in fashion merchandising.
Okay.
And I did that, but unfortunately, the long hours, the holidays, it was like, this isn't really for me.
Hmm.
So then I went into banking, I went into transportation, Audrey, and I wasn't really happy.
Yeah.
And the last job I had in transportation, I got a late. I was about ready to move out.
Dang.
Had stuff ready to pack, ready to go, and I got
Hmm.
a layoff notice. So I had to tell my mother, and she says, "Well, I'm not going to kick you out." I'm like, "Thank you."
Okay. I know that's right.
And so I stayed and I was able to really just build the business because I had her support and it was like a little
Hmm.
easier because I didn't have like all that overhead. So
Right.
that's how I got started. And it really came from during that layoff period when we were, leading up to it, I saw an article of a woman that would go into businesses and tell people how to be organized. And I
Okay.
was like, well, everybody's always saying it about me. So then that's when I did the research, found out there was a local group chapter of organizers, the national chapter of organizers, and then that's how I started. I started part-time and then I moved on to full-time about a year later.
So that's basically how you became a professional organizer.
Yes. Hmm.
And then, the key things in there is that it's something that you already were good at. And,
Yeah.
there was already a passion there. It's funny how we kind of go full circle with things. So we don't start off where that passion is. We kind of go around and then we, come back to it. Not really knowing in the beginning, though, that's where where our purpose ends up.
And that's true. That's true. Like I
Mhm.
said, I thought I was going to be in New York and a buyer in one of the big department
Okay.
stores.
Dressing cute.
I know. And then
Running
when I,
things.
hmm
You're still
hmm
running stuff, but
hmm hmm that's how I envisioned my life. It was like, yeah, that's what I want. But,
oh
there were other
god.
plans for me.
Yeah. So what happens? How do we just get cluttered? Where does it, I don't know, where does it stem from? Is it our time? Is it I don't know. What is it?
Well, I think a lot of times it is more or less really looking at our priorities. But also, 80% of the stuff we keep, we never reference again.
Oh
That's
God.
statistics.
Mhm.
We have like over 300,000 items in our homes and in our lives.
What?
So yeah, and that's just on average. And those were just some statistics.
Ooh.
But I think a lot of it is that we have things, whether we accumulate, buy, or either they're given to us, or either they're a memory, and sometimes it's just about letting go. And it's really
Mhm.
about setting aside some time to let things go.
Okay.
We do the spring cleaning, but sometimes we need to do it just a little bit more. We need to maybe once a year after we've done our taxes, go through some of that paperwork and say, okay, I've had these taxes since my first job when I was 16. Maybe it's time for me to let them go.
What's the statute? 10 years, 15 years?
I think it's like really like about 7 years.
Oh
But I
God.
always tell people to really talk to your tax professional and also your attorney to see how long you need to keep things, because depending on situations, maybe you need to keep them longer. But
Okay.
also, even if you do feel you need to keep it, we've got scanners now. Scan the documents and then
Yes.
just put them either on your iCloud, a flash drive, or something like that. So you don't
Mhm.
have that physical stuff.
Yes.
So, but
Yes.
doing that once a year, seasonally, just going through the clothes, the closets. But also, a lot of people change the decor seasonally. So, just sometimes doing things like that.
Mhm.
I didn't use those flowers last year. Maybe I need to just give them and donate them. But a lot of times, it just comes with the overwhelm. People see
Yeah.
the garage, the basement,
Mhm.
or either just, I got all these junk drawers, and it's really just about pacing yourself.
Okay. It's like,
Yeah.
how do we, get started? Because I feel like, when I've started, because I've closed, another business a few years ago,
Hmm.
those boxes are still here. Then I just
Okay.
recently closed the office. They're those boxes. And I'm about to retire. So there's going to be another box that's going to come here. I'm like, I can't bring another box in here.
And then that's when for you, I would suggest you go back to the oldest. What of all the boxes, what's the oldest? Because it's going to be a lot easier for you to get rid of those as the
Okay.
more recent stuff. So, and then also if it's things you want to keep, like paperwork documents, you scan them. And then really thinking about any other items. Can I donate some things? Or
Mhm.
can I responsibly recycle things? Because I went to one of the local supermarkets here and they had a bin for old eyeglasses. I'm thinking that is perfect because a lot of times they send them to other countries.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not doing things like that as well,
Mhm.
but just pacing yourself. And I tell people, just figure out what area you need to focus on first and
Mhm.
do that area and don't go back and forth and back and forth.
Mhm.
So that's how you can really just kind of work through things. But it's just we've become a consumer society. I had a conversation with a fellow organizer yesterday, and she told me that the average child sometimes has like almost 200 toys.
Oh my goodness. So,
I
yeah,
was
so,
like, wow.
yeah, so there needs to be some turnover right there.
Yeah, I was like, wow. I was like, that's a lot.
Yeah. So you have the toy box, there's stuff on the bed, there's stuff on the shelves. God knows
Hmm.
if there's something under the bed.
Hmm.
Oh
And
wow.
and then also we have off-site storage. So, I don't have enough space here. I'm not ready to get rid of it. It'll be easier for me just to put it, off-site. I don't have to look at it. I don't have to think about it. And I'll just pay the bill every month. But then that can come to over $1,000 or more.
Yeah. Yeah. I could have been gone into the vacation kitty.
That's true. That is so true. So, so true.
Oh my goodness. So, we were when before we got started, I was talking about, closing the offices or whatever, working in the house, then getting an office space and, then, back in the apartment. And then there was clutter. And now, the office, it work, it's full of stuff. So what, am I just a clutter bug? How if I would fix one area and then, I'm so
Hmm.
happy I want to have
Hmm.
company then, we
Hmm.
can clean up. But I don't know. Do you know where that comes from? Or am I just a clutter freak or what is it?
It could be your attachment to the stuff, the information. Maybe you're not ready to get rid of it.
I don't know.
Maybe you feel that you need to go through it. There's like really, there's lots of reasons why we hold on to stuff. The
Mhm.
four main ones are: number one, some people are hoarders, and you've probably seen the TV shows,
Yeah.
the articles about people, and those a lot of times there's like a something emotional happened to
Mhm.
them. Then, of course, there is deferring, delaying. I will read the newspaper tomorrow. I'll open the mail tomorrow, when really tomorrow doesn't have any more time than today.
Mm. True.
Then there's that perfectionist. You know what? I really want to get organized, but I don't have the right containers. I don't have labels, this, that, and the other. And I always tell people, purge first before you buy anything. Do
Okay.
not, because 80% of the stuff we keep, we don't reference again. And then, of course, it's like the sentimental stuff. That
Yeah.
stuff that may belong to, a relative,
Mhm.
someone who is no longer here. And it's really kind of working through those things. But a lot of times it's really asking yourself questions like, when was the last time I wore this? I was working with someone and she was like, oh, that's a sentimental t-shirt. I said, okay. And I said, who gave it to you? She said, an ex-boyfriend. I said,
An ex.
ex. I said, the emphasis
He
on the
ain't
ex.
dead. It ain't sentimental.
I said, ex. And I said, well, when was the last time you wore it? She said, eighth grade. I said, we're taking this thing and we're donating it because you're in your 40s now. But sometimes it's just feels like I need to hold on to stuff. And I understand that. I mean, my mother used to travel. She had that huge traveling trunk. I don't want to get rid of that. I love it.
Right.
So
Right.
therefore, I keep it. It's like a coffee table, but also it doubles as storage. And
Mhm.
sometimes even in small spaces, I tell people, look at multifunctional furniture, but also if you want to keep things, look at ways you can repurpose things as
Mhm.
well.
Okay, that's a good point too. I like
Hmm.
that. But what about our time management? Because I'm sure that plays into it too. Because it's like I don't have time to look at it now because I'm thinking about other things that I have to do, or
Hmm. Hmm.
that really have to get done. I'm like, I don't have time, but we do have time.
Yes, we do.
We just
Yes, we
we
do.
aren't using it right. Because I told a lady the other day, I said, I said, when I'm sitting here, when I'm all done with work and I'm just winding down, watching
Hmm.
TV, I can, grab a box and I can go through that. That's been like, a week. And of course I haven't done anything. And so then she asked me like, but so have you, gone through any of the boxes yet? I'm like, no, I'm gonna do that this weekend. My downtime.
So, with time management, so number one, they've found studies 15 minutes of pre planning the night before saves us an hour the next day. So maybe you have to go, like some people are doing remote, hybrid, some people are
Mm-hmm.
actually in the office, or even sometimes you just have to go out. Making sure you know where your keys are, making sure you know where your shoes are, and actually both of them match. Because I've heard some stories of people have walked out the house where they thought they had the same shoe. Yes, yeah, yes. Actually, this happened to somebody I know. We were meeting for breakfast. She had to get in her car, drive to the train, take the train into the city to meet
Oh
me. And she said, Jan, look at my feet. And I looked at them real quick.
Lord.
She said, yeah, I got two black shoes on, but they don't match. So, things like that.
Yes.
Or maybe you are going to a meeting the next day, just making sure you have everything you need. So the 15 minutes of pre-planning saves you an
Mhm.
hour of pre-planning, and that could be for a bigger project. It could be maybe you've decided you want to organize your garage. But I also tell people, what about your week? An
Mhm.
hour of pre-planning saves you 3 to 4. So once a week, sit down. You already know kind of what your work schedule's like, your meetings, etc. Then plan those other things. When are you going to do the grocery shopping or order groceries? When do you want to do the laundry? Things like that. So you can
Mhm.
incorporate those in your schedule and then they'll already be there. And then you can add whatever. Maybe you want to go and hang out or do a bike ride or go to an event, but at least you'll know. And doing things like that will help you. But also multitasking, as fun as it may be, it's good in certain places. Now, at
Mhm.
work, we really need to be single focused because they're finding when we focus our attention on one task, we get it done a lot quicker because multitasking just doubles the time. But of
Mhm.
course, at home, I'm going to put a load of laundry in and then maybe chop up some
Yeah,
vegetables.
yeah.
That's fine.
Mhm.
And then last, really double the time you think it's going to take you to do something.
Okay.
If you think something's going to take 15 minutes, double it to 30. Because if it takes you 20 minutes, at least you won't feel stressed and overwhelmed because you'll realize, oh, I'm 10 minutes, ahead of the game and it's not overlapping into something else. But if you only schedule 15 minutes and it takes you 20, you might be stressed, you might be overwhelmed, you might be rushing. Because how many times, Audrey, have you said, oh, I'm just going to make a quick run? And that quick run, because of traffic, maybe
Mm-hmm.
you go to the store, maybe they don't have what you want. So then you got to go to another store. Or I've gone in the store and realized, why is there more employees in here? But that's because they're switching the store around. So therefore, I had to go over on the other side. I thought the milk was over here, but they moved it over here. And then one
Mm-hmm.
time, I remember one time I went where I thought something was, and the woman's like, no, you got to go over in aisle 6. She was a fellow shopper. I was like, oh, okay.
Um,
So yeah, it's just kind of taking those things and also just allowing ourselves time for rest, allowing ourselves to say no. But when you say no to one thing, you're actually opening yourself up to say yes to something else.
that's true.
You know, oh no, I unfortunately I'm not able to be the chair of the committee this year.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, I'll be at the event. So if you want me to greet people, etc., I'll be more than happy. But now that's freeing me up because now I've got obligations because maybe, you know, I've got a child who is in sports and stuff, and I just want to be there and just cheer them on, but not overwhelm myself because I've got all these things cluttering up my calendar, just like my closet and my junk drawers are cluttered.
Right, exactly. And what I find too is when we start to declutter, even if just that one area, you can feel the emptiness in the room. You can just be more creative and your
Yep.
your thoughts are clearer.
And yeah, and you feel, and also with organizing, some people unfortunately, think organizing and neatness is the same thing. And it's really organizing is being able to find something the first time
Mhm.
you look. It's
Okay.
not necessarily about being neat because I mean, maybe, I'm sure you do. I know people, you think, okay, I thought you were a little bit more, but I don't want it. But then when you ask them for something, they give it to you quickly. And
Mhm.
that's what's really, it's about being able to find something the first time you look. And also sometimes simple things to do is just putting things back. Because I say when you put things back, then specifically when you're in a household with other people, then you
Mhm.
can communicate a lot better instead of saying, well, who left this? Where is the? And I can't find the.
Oh my goodness, for sure. Now, how do we translate that into our offices, our businesses? Because you can't serve our clients, through
Hmm.
chaos.
Hmm. Hmm. So one of the things is, first of all, when you end your workday, you really should end it with a clear desk. And I'm not saying you got to organize everything, but at least so you can see the surface the next time you walk into your work area, because you'll be more focused on what you have to do and not necessarily all the piles.
Mhm.
Um, Also, the same thing, look for ways to really reduce the paper clutter. Do you, first of all, need to print everything? I mean, sometimes you do need to print things,
Mhm.
contracts and stuff, you need to read them, but do you need to print everything? And instead of creating a file, is it a way you can have digital files? And while I'm on the subject of digital files, because I know sometimes that can just look like the wild, wild west when people open up their
Please don't tell me about having all those files on your desktop.
you
That
know,
that unravels me. I can't stand
yeah.
it.
So, really just kind of create, like, for example, maybe you got client ABC and you
Mhm.
have a folder for that. And then within that folder, have the contracts, have any financial statements, any meeting notes, put them so therefore whenever you need to find everything, you can look for it and you can find it the first time instead of having all of these folders on your desktop. And
Mhm.
that can be confusing, and also it's just visual clutter.
Yeah.
So that's, and then also just making sure you have a space or a container for all of your supplies, because ink cartridges is an investment. So you want to be able to find it the first time, not because maybe you do have to print out a contract. You can't find the ink cartridge. So now you got to get in your car. You got to go buy another cartridge of ink when somewhere in your office is an ink cartridge. And if things don't work, like a pen, a marker, a pencil that's like this big, it's time to let it go. It's time.
I've seen that time and time again. Someone will pick up, oh, this doesn't work, and they put it back down. No, the trash can is right there. Throw it away.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Oh
mm-hmm.
my goodness.
And then even, in your office, but also in your home, have a retention schedule. How long do you really need to keep information?
Yeah.
Business is going to be different than personal, but
Mhm.
just decide. One thing that I think all of your listeners can get rid of right now is, I know somebody has got a receipt
Yeah.
where the ink has just disappeared. And it's just nothing but a blank piece of paper. You
Yeah.
don't know where, who, what, when, why. You can just get rid of it.
What other advice in a minute? We'll take a quick break and come back, but I want you to leave us with some heavy nuggets, something that's going to really step on our toes.
Step
I'll be
on the
right back.
toe.
Yeah.
Knock out your competition with Altogether Marketing. We elevate your brand. Take a stance with your business name, logo, the tagline, your colors, even the fonts for your business. And then jab left with your website. Jab right with core values. Back up with product experience and bring it on with you. Visit altogether.biz and let us help you create a knockout brand.
So I think just knowing that 80% of the stuff in your life, you really aren't using. It's just taking up valuable real estate in your home. And also, and as I'm thinking about getting rid of things, also think about tackling one, the corner, and sometimes I even call it the graveyard of the laptops. I know you're trying to keep them because you don't want to throw out the hard drive. Figure out how to remove the hard drive and get rid of those stacks and just recycle them. And also the cords,
Oh
the
yeah.
stuff that you no longer need. And you don't even own the device.
I know it's like a bunch of extension cords, with their power cords. You're right, and you can't even use them. Oh,
Let them go. Let them go.
all right. Well, Janet, this has been fun and enlightening, and my feet hurt because you've been stepping all over them. But appreciate that. So, before we go, I want you to share about your podcast again, so we can get in touch with you there, start following you, and I know we can actually, we can get to your website too. So let us know about that, so we can get started and get decluttered.
So my podcast is Got Clutter, Get Organized, and that's what we talk about. We talk about all the ways people can get organized, whether you're a pet parent. We'll be soon doing the back to school series. And of course, my website is janetmtaylor.com.
All right. So Chop Squad, and this may have been a little, pin prickly, here episode today. But you are not alone. All right. So definitely let's plug in to what Janet Taylor is doing, get your website and see what she's got for you there, as well as start following her podcast. And let's contact her and get our lives organized. All right, Janet, really appreciate you coming on, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you so much, Audrey, for this opportunity.
Thank you for listening to The Business Chops. We hope that you were able to glean valuable information from our guests and that you will download and share this podcast. Your rating and review is much appreciated. To go deeper with our guests, please visit their website and social channels. To learn more about us, please visit businesschop.info or altogether.biz, where we will help you expand your brand.